Okay, I wanted to talk about the tooth fairy because, well, let me just tell you something. I'm a little tired of the tooth fairy. So I have 7 kids, and they're constantly losing their teeth because they're at that tooth losing age, and it's always at a really inconvenient time. Well, my 20-year-old really isn't losing her teeth because she's lost all of her teeth because she had her wisdom teeth out last year, which, by the way, cost a fortune and was really disgusting to watch. She looked like a vampire, seriously. Her face turned white and she was drugged up and there was blood coming out of her mouth and for 2 days. Oh. So some of my kids like to get their teeth pulled. Like if it's wiggly, they just say, "Come here, let me pull your tooth." How many teeth have you guys lost?
7! Oops. 10 million?
10 million? Okay.
9.
So the other thing is, how much money should the tooth fairy be giving these days?
Sometimes 2, 3, 4, 5.
Wow. Have your friends got $20 for his tooth?
Yeah.
$20? Are you kidding me? $20? I'm talking 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 tops. 5 maybe if it's stuck in there. They have to be put out and it has to be pulled out, yanked out, and they have a recovery time. Maybe that's for $5. But let me tell you something, parents. Do not be giving your children $10, $20 for a tooth. And by the way, if you're giving a child that much money for their teeth, I guarantee that you only have 1 child. Because if you had a lot of children and you multiply that by the amount of teeth that they lose, you're going to be broke. Okay, so do not be giving them $10. Plus, it sets a precedent for many of us who don't want to be giving their children more than 50 cents or $1 or $2. Do not give your children $20 for their teeth. It's a problem for most of us at home, okay? Okay? Has the tooth fairy ever forgotten?
No. Yes.
The other thing is how, if there's a mistake and the tooth fairy is not contacted, how do we resolve that? I have a brilliant solution. When she forgets, what do we do, Matea?
We cry into pieces.
We need to bring the tooth fairy into these modern times, right? So what I've done is I have discussed this with my children. If the tooth fairy forgets, it means we need to text her. So we text the tooth fairy.
We text her or call her.
Do we ever email her?
Yes.
There's probably a Twitter for the tooth fairy, I'm just saying. Don't make it. If the tooth fairy doesn't make it, it's because bad weather. The tooth came out too late. The tooth came out too late. The child did not remind me to tell the tooth fairy, especially right before they went to bed. So the next morning I say, you forgot to tell me to text, email, or tweet the tooth fairy. And did you know that if the weather's bad, especially if there's a hurricane or even a light rain, the wings on the tooth fairy, because she's so light, she's so petite, and she's so beautiful, that it can just blow her away and she won't make it in time. So the weather has to be optimal for the tooth fairy to come.
Maybe her tooth telephone didn't go on, or she had too much kids to take care of.
Yes, the tooth fairy totally had too many kids to take care of. That's so true. That's so true. The tooth fairy had too many kids. That's why she forgot. Alec, do you know who the tooth fairy is?
No.
When you lose your teeth, you put it under a pillow and somebody comes and brings you money.
6, I lost my tooth and then I lost my tooth again. And I dropped it in the carpet and it blended in. And I tried to use a magnifying glass, but I couldn't find it.
These are veneers. How'd you get the money if you lost your tooth?
Well, you texted her or emailed her or called her, or if you couldn't do that, I wrote a note.
Okay. The other thing is that the tooth fairy can be too busy. That's why the money was not under the pillow. She was too busy and she'll come the next night. Well, if the tooth fairy forgets a few nights, she feels really, really bad. So when she feels really bad like that, then yes, if it was $2, maybe you'll get $3. Also depends on how many teeth have come out in the same week with how many children. I'm just saying. What's the problem if it rains?
Because she flies. If her wings get wet, they get damped out and you can't fly.
Her wings get damped out and they can't fly? What do you think of the tooth fairy? How much money? Have you ever forgotten to contact the tooth fairy for your child? If so, I'd like to hear those stories. Please subscribe to my YouTube channel, which is YouTube Mother the World, and comment and let me know your thoughts about the tooth fairy, because I really want to know, because I have another child who's not even lost a tooth yet, and he's looking up to the other kids who are trying to tutor him on this tooth fairy thing, and I do not want anybody else to know that some parents give their children $20 for a tooth. That's ridiculous.
And yeah, that's all.
You probably still have some more teeth to come out. Yay!